Hey guys, it's Subrome again. This video is going to be talking about my demotion as well as a few messages that I wanted to start you guys out with. The reactions in the comments you guys have been responding with have been heartbreaking as much as they've been heartwarming. And I see you guys, and I know that I may not be able to respond to every single one of you right at this moment. I have a lot going on in my own life, as well as trying to work in the video creation and trying to get these messages out to you, via the video. But I was on the verge of tears for some of the comments that I was seeing. Some of the people's stories are very touching, and some of them are even just far worse than my own. You know, I see you guys. I do. All of you. The ones that are even supporting from the sidelines in silence. The ones like me making the noise, and everybody else in between. I see you, and you deserve to be heard. I did, however, want to bring up that there was a comment in particular that got folded by TikTok itself. I'm not sure exactly why, but it brought up the fact of me, addressing my personal targeting situation and the fact that it was 3 years ago, that it was misinterpreting the situation, and, you know, that there's new mods and new guidelines. The whole point of me bringing it up was not to just stir some 3-year-old drama. It was just to prove a point that COS has been standing against targeting, and like what my situation was, since it's circumstantial targeted harassment, you know, this situations may not be the same, but it's still something that they stand against. I also had seen a comment below that there was something in the not Discord, but Roblox TOS that talked about targeting and harassment itself. So I'm not 100% sure the specifics on that, but if it's something that they're also against, then that's something that COS is going to be against too. And for me, you know, taking 3 years to talk about it, I mean, I had to shove it off at the time because you just can't talk about that kind of situation as a normal CC. You know, hence my retirement. There's more to all of this than meets the eye, and it's not to be mean to this person, but it's just the facts of the matter. My last message before I dive into the demotions, I am going to say I personally do not think that the entire team is bad. There are a few people that are a part of it that are genuinely good people, and I don't think it's fair for them to be wrapped up in any of this. I have seen some comments that have been generalizing that the whole team is bad, and it's not everyone. The good ones know who they are, and I can only hope that they're just keeping their eye closely on this situation. This is also a quick side note, as well as, you know, there was nothing in Tokolaz's message that ever specified that what I said was wrong or any kind of misinformation. The only thing that was stated in that message was the fact that they didn't want us to be painting people in the wrong light, to be like a better role model and things like that. There was nothing in there that said that I was wrong about what I said. Now let's dive into the information about my demotion. My demotion was put in place 06/21/2021, and the reason I was demoted at the time was because of a status that I had. And the reason I'm also saying the date is because if anybody remembers around that time, the beginnings of the Israel and Palestine war conflicts were starting around that time, or at least beginning to flare up a lot, and people were tragically losing their lives. But I, including a lot of other people, didn't know a lot of the specifics of what was happening other than that there was just a war going on. I also don't keep up with news regularly because the stories honestly make me pretty anxious and emotional, and I already got a lot of stuff going on in my own life, so that's why I don't really keep up with that, and I only just kind of hear about it later on and then potentially do research. But at the time I didn't know anything about it. But with all that in mind, I used to be with an ex of mine at the time who used to speak in his sleep. It was a joke between us to put my status as whatever he said in his sleep, because some of the stuff that he said was just overall random, weird, you know, just a guy rambling in his sleep about just random stuff. And he said at the time, you know, the night before this all went down, me getting demoted, Jewish pillows explode. You know, looking back at it, I regret making this my status because I didn't realize the implications people would take it as. You know, I can admit to that, you know, I regret it, but, you know, even in my DMs to ModMail was extremely apologetic because I didn't realize that people were going to take it as that. And, you know, why would anybody want to joke about something so tragic? Like, it kind of just blew my mind at the time, but I could understand, you know, where it could be taken wrong with the political climate at the height. However, though, it did take me about 37 days of waiting and me every 2 weeks to reach back out to get my role. The fact that I even got it back was kind of a godsend. I mean, I feel like the mods only gave it back because I argued as hard as I could that I was never intentionally trying to joke about something so severe, and my status was not meant to be an anti-Semitic joke. That I would never, ever stand for that kind of stuff. I am thankful, though, that the team did hear me out and give me my role back, and that, you know, I will forever be grateful for. But the biggest problem that I've seen with Sonar and the mod team and what to take away from this is, as the phrase goes, they shoot first and ask questions later. You know, the reason I also speak about this is to not only admit to my own mistakes, but to prove that time and time again that instead of trying to speak to somebody about an issue, they tend to jump the gun. You know, and the same goes for my last video. They immediately had tried to jump the gun about me, as you guys had seen in my other situation. You know, it's constant. And the CC demotions prove that too. Well, except for a certain individual. The whole point of this video was to send the message across that consistently I am seeing happen where people are being shot down from righting their wrongs and are just being seen as villains in COS's eyes. I feel like it's inhuman to not believe that people cannot make mistakes and that people cannot learn and rectify themselves. Not that I'm saying that they believe that way, but it's been seeming like it this entire time. You know, people can admit to their wrongs and be a better person from it. I cannot say that every mistake is redeemable, especially if the mistake is not a mistake and it's intentional. But everything that we have seen is always going to be circumstantial. I want to see COS, instead of going for the throat, to inform people what they may be doing wrong and ask those questions of why is this and what's going on, or explain to somebody what they're doing wrong and find a resolution. There's ways you can work with people. I want to end this video off with one more thing. I appreciate you all taking the time to watch. Oh, that was weird. Anyways, I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video and for all your comments on my last one and all the support, even those who are silently supporting me. From the bottom of my heart, thank you.